Let me describe your day. You woke up, reached for your phone within the first 60 seconds, and spent 20 minutes scrolling through news that won't matter tomorrow. Updates from people you barely know, and videos that gave you momentary dopamine but left you emptier than before. Then you got up, made coffee, opened your laptop, and spent the first hour of your workday doing everything except the one thing that actually mattered. Sound familiar? You are not alone. You are in fact perfectly average. And that's the problem. We live in an age that worships busyness while secretly rewarding mediocrity. We check 40 emails and feel productive. We attend 6 meetings and feel important. We follow 300 people online and feel connected. But at the end of the day, when the notifications stop and the silence comes, many of us feel something uncomfortable. A quiet sense that we haven't really done anything. That we spread ourselves so thin we became invisible, even to ourselves. The average person today is pulled in 100 directions at once. We want to be healthy, and we want to sleep in. We want to build something meaningful, and we want to binge television. We want to master a skill, and we want to be entertained. We believe we can have all of it, and we pursue all of it half-heartedly. The result? We get none of it. Not really, not deeply. We live in a culture that has glamorized comfort, glorified distraction, and turned the word balance into an excuse for never going all the way in any single direction. Balance sounds wise. Balance sounds healthy. But for most of us, balance has become a polite word for being mediocre at many things and excellent at nothing. There is another way. There has always been another way. And it looks nothing like what we were taught. It looks like a teenager in Los Angeles showing up to an empty gym at 4 a.m. It looks like a man who chose obsession over comfort, maximalism over moderation, and singular focus over the illusion of balance. It looks like the number 8 becoming the number 24. It looks like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bean Bryant was born on August 23, 1978 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His father, Joe Jelly Bean Bryant, was a professional basketball player, and young Kobe grew up surrounded by the game. At 6 years old, his family moved to Italy, where his father continued his career in the Italian league. Kobe became fluent in Italian, absorbed a different culture, and discovered something important, that being different wasn't a disadvantage. It was a starting point. When the family returned to the United States and settled in suburban Philadelphia, Kobe was already different from his peers, not just in skill but in attitude. He didn't just play basketball. He studied it. He dissected it. He watched old VHS tapes of Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Jerry West, not for entertainment but for education. He wasn't a fan. He was a student, and eventually a scientist of the game. At Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania, Kobe became the best high school basketball player in the country. He averaged 30.8 points per game in his senior season and was named the Naismith High School Player of the Year. But statistics don't tell his story. What tells his story is the fact that, at 17 years old, he made a decision that shocked everyone. He would skip college entirely and declare for the NBA draft. In 1996, the Charlotte Hornets selected him with the 13th pick and immediately traded him to the Los Angeles Lakers. He was 17 years old. He didn't know most of his teammates. He didn't have a driver's license. And he was playing with Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most dominant forces in the history of sport. The stage was enormous. Kobe didn't shrink. He expanded to fill it. 5 NBA championships, 18 All-Star selections, 33,643 career points scored. He said, "I have nothing in common with lazy people who blame others for their lack of success. Great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses." His early years in the NBA were not smooth. He was raw, sometimes isolated, and fiercely competitive in ways that didn't always endear him to others. But something was already clear. This young man would outwork everyone. Every night. No exceptions. One of the most famous stories about Kobe Bryant belongs to a man named Jay Williams, a former NBA player who trained with Kobe in preparation for the 2012 London Olympics. Williams arrived at the practice facility at 11 a.m. He was exhausted. He'd had a brutal training session, and there was Kobe, drenched in sweat, laces undone, barely able to stand, having just finished a workout that had started at 4 o'clock in the morning. Kobe had been working for 7 hours before most people had finished breakfast. This was not a one-time event. This was a lifestyle. Kobe Bryant trained before the sun rose, before his opponents were awake, before the cameras were rolling and no one was watching. He trained in the dark not for show, but because he understood something fundamental about excellence. It is not a performance. It is a practice. It is something you do when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when the only person who knows you showed up is you. This is the philosophy of maximalism. Not maximalism in the decorative sense, not having more things, more choices, more options. Maximalism of effort, maximalism of focus, the radical idea that instead of distributing your energy across everything, you pour everything into one thing, and you don't stop when it hurts. You stop when it's done, and then you come back tomorrow. The moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. Kobe didn't believe in shortcuts. He didn't believe in rest as an escape. He believed in the process with a devotion that bordered on spiritual. He once said that if you want to be the best, you have to be willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do. Simple, brutal, true. He studied the game of basketball the way a scholar studies a text, relentlessly, obsessively, from every angle. He watched tape of opponents, of teammates, of players from other eras. He wanted to understand the geometry of the game, the psychology of defenders, the physics of the body under pressure. He didn't just practice moves. He built a mental library of every possible scenario, so that when the moment came, when 24 seconds were on the shot clock and the game was on the line, there was nothing new. He had already been there, in the gym, at 4 a.m. Kobe Bryant gave a name to his philosophy, the Mamba mentality. He named himself the Black Mamba, after the deadly African snake, as a way of separating his professional persona from his personal identity. The Mamba was the competitor. The Mamba had no fear, no sentimentality, no off switch. But the Mamba mentality was more than a nickname. It was a framework, a way of seeing the world. At its core, it was about 4 things. First, relentless curiosity. Kobe never stopped learning. He was always asking why. Why does this move work? Why does this defender give ground here? He approached basketball, and later life, as a system to be understood, not merely experienced. He believed that curiosity, properly channeled, was one of the most powerful tools available to any human being. Second, radical focus. Kobe understood that attention is the scarcest resource in modern life. He protected his with ferocity. When he was in the gym, he was in the gym, completely, totally, with nothing held back. He didn't half do things. He didn't practice casually. He understood that the quality of your focus determines the quality of your output, and he refused to waste either. Third, embracing adversity. In 2013, Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles tendon, one of the most devastating injuries possible for a basketball player. He played out the game, made 2 free throws, and then walked off the court. He was 34 years old. Most players never truly return from an Achilles tear. Kobe came back. He worked with the same methodical, obsessive approach he had always applied to excellence, but now applied it to recovery. He treated his own body as a project to be solved. Fourth, ownership of every outcome. Kobe didn't make excuses. When he was wrong, he acknowledged it. When he failed, he analyzed the failure, extracted the lesson, and returned stronger. He once missed 23 consecutive shots in a stretch across games. He kept shooting, not because he was reckless, but because he trusted his preparation more than he feared his failures. That trust was earned, in the gym, at 4 a.m, when nobody was watching. Everything negative, pressure, challenges, is all an opportunity for me to rise. Kobe wore the number 8 for the first half of his career, and switched to 24 in 2006. To many, it seemed like a cosmetic change, but to Kobe, the numbers meant everything. Number 8, he said, represented his youthful hunger, the raw, almost reckless energy of a young man with everything to prove and nothing to lose. It was fire, it was chaos, it was ambition without full understanding. Number 24 represented something different, maturity, mastery, and, most importantly, clarity of purpose. 24 hours in a day, every single one of them to be used. 24 was about maximizing not just his talent, but his humanity. After personal and professional hardships in the early 2000s, Kobe emerged changed, more intentional, more reflective, and paradoxically even more driven. 1996, enters the NBA at 17, the youngest player in league history at the time, joins the Los Angeles Lakers. 2000 to 2002, wins 3 consecutive NBA championships alongside Shaquille O'Neal, establishes himself as one of the premier players in the world. 2006, scores 81 points in a single game against the Toronto Raptors, the second highest single-game scoring performance in NBA history, switches jersey number to 24. 2009 to 2010, leads the Lakers to back-to-back championships, wins Finals MVP in 2009. Proves he can carry a team without Shaq. 2016, scores 60 points in his final NBA game at age 37, in his final performance as a professional athlete. Retires as the third all-time leading scorer in NBA history. 2018, wins an Academy Award for Dear Basketball, an animated short film he wrote and narrated, becoming the first athlete to win an Oscar. Proves the obsessive creative drive extended far beyond sport. The final game, 60 points at age 37, on a broken body that had been repaired and rebuilt over 2 decades, was not just a performance. It was a statement. It said, "I never gave up on myself." It said, "I came here to do something, and I will do it completely until the end." It was perhaps the most Kobe thing Kobe ever did. One of the most misunderstood things about Kobe Bryant is that people thought his obsession was basketball. It wasn't. His obsession was mastery itself. Basketball was simply the domain in which he first chose to apply it. After retiring, Kobe founded Granity Studios, a multimedia content company focused on stories that could inspire the next generation. He wrote children's books. He produced animated films. He invested in companies. He mentored young athletes. He learned to dance with his daughter Gianna, who shared her father's same burning love for basketball. He was, by all accounts, becoming something he had always been learning to be, a full human being, not just an athlete. "I don't want to be the next Michael Jordan. I only want to be Kobe Bryant." He poured his post-playing years into fatherhood with the same intensity he had brought to basketball. He coached Gianna's youth basketball team. He was her biggest champion, her most demanding teacher, and her most loving supporter. In interviews from his final years, he spoke about her with a pride that transcended sport, as if in her he saw something greater than any trophy he'd ever won. On January 26, 2020, Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. He was 41 years old. She was 13. The world went silent. What followed was one of the most extraordinary outpourings of grief in recent memory. Not just from basketball fans, but from people who had never watched a single game. Because Kobe Bryant had become something larger than basketball. He had become a symbol of what a human being can choose to become when they decide, completely and without reservation, to be great. You are not Kobe Bryant, neither am I, and that is exactly the point. Kobe Bryant was not born exceptional. He was born with talent, yes, but talent is common. There are thousands of people with Kobe-level natural ability who never came close to what he achieved. What separated him was not DNA. What separated him was a decision. A daily repeated, uncompromising decision to show up fully, to work completely, and to refuse the seduction of comfort. You don't need to be an athlete to apply these lessons. You need to ask yourself one honest question. What is the one thing in my life that if I gave it everything, not most things, not balanced things, but everything, would transform who I am? It might be your craft. It might be your business. It might be your relationships, your health, your art, your mind. Whatever it is, the Mamba mentality asks you to stop dabbling in it and start devoting yourself to it. Stop showing up when it's convenient and start showing up when it's hard. Stop asking for shortcuts and start trusting the process. The Mamba mentality is not about becoming a machine. Kobe Bryant cried at his daughter's piano recitals. He wrote poetry. He studied philosophy. He was deeply human. What the Mamba mentality asks of you is not to erase your humanity. It is to honor it by taking it seriously. To believe that you are capable of more than you are currently doing. To stop settling for the mediocre version of yourself that wakes up every morning and reaches for the phone. Kobe said, "The most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do." Here is the truth that Kobe lived by, and that we spend most of our lives avoiding. There is no time that isn't now. The 4 o'clock morning, it comes whether you're ready or not. The years pass whether you're building something or scrolling through someone else's life. The question is never whether time will move forward. It always does. The question is what you choose to do inside it. Kobe Bryant is gone. But the standard he set, the standard of full commitment, radical focus, and absolute refusal to be ordinary, that standard is still here. It's available to you. It costs nothing but effort, and it demands everything you have. Go do the work. Show up before the sun rises. Be in the gym when no one is watching. Love what you do with the kind of devotion that looks, from the outside, like obsession, because that's exactly what it is. And know that in choosing that path, you are not losing your life to your pursuit. You are finally fully living it.